What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and welcome to another episode of Fan-Made Exotics, the only series that lets you submit your exotic weapon, armor, ghost shell, or heck, any Destiny exotic idea and have a realistic concept art made for it. Now that's because I've partnered with the artists Michael, aka Rageblade, and Benjamin Radaman, who make incredibly realistic exotic concepts. Both of their deviant arcs will be linked in the description down below. Now on the docket for today's video, firstly, we are going to showcase 5 featured exotics that all came from the comments section of the previous episode. If you're planning to submit an idea, I would highly recommend you watch those featured exotics so you know what kind of things we're looking for. And by the way, if you want to submit an exotic idea, all you need to do is make a new comment in the comment section of this video detailing your idea. Make sure to include any information the artist might need to know, like its background and appearance. Also include especially its exotic perks and any other perks or stats the weapon or armor piece might have. We don't necessarily talk about those, but it shows you've been thinking about your concept. Now guys, before we begin, if you enjoy this series and want to see more, please remember to support the video by liking, commenting, and especially sharing. The people who do that are the reason we're able to continue making this series. Also, if you are planning on making a submission, make sure you're doing it on the newest Fan-Made Exotics video. If there's a newer video than this one, an annotation will appear right now leading you to that newest video. Alright, now let's get started on the 5 featured exotic concepts. Michael is going to take care of the first 2 concepts shown, and Benjamin will have made the last 3. Now let's get things started with the long shot exotic sniper rifle concept by Bandit Nation. This sniper rifle has a few unique perks. The first one is an intrinsic perk called Trespass. This weapon will ignore the shields of minions of the darkness. Next up, we have the second exotic perk, Long Range Assistance. When at long range, dealing damage with this weapon will coat enemies in a toxin, making them take more damage for a short time. So let's break that down because we definitely have a few things going on. Firstly, the Trespass perk is incredibly useful for PvE play, being able to get one-shot kills on shielded Centurions, for example, or shielded Knights. That is so useful. It makes that ironclad modifier that often appears in Nightfalls way less potent. So that just sounds so useful for PvE activities. The second perk, Long Range Assistance, really emphasizes this weapon's role as a sniper rifle, not really getting right in people's faces, aiming down sights and shoving your sniper into the boss's face. You want to be as far back as possible to get that perk activated so that you can be dealing that extra damage that comes from applying the toxin, which of course that is going to apply to your teammates as well, so you staying in the back with a sniper rifle doing this toxin damage, perhaps even this would be quite useful in the Wrath of the Machine raid. If Axis teleports on the other side of you, you can use this sniper, apply that toxin, get the extra damage, and the nearby teammates are going to be using their Darkdrinker swords, etc. So pretty neat sniper, and again, one that really emphasizes the role of an actual sniper rifle. So definitely love this idea. Moving on, we have the Doppelganger exotic sidearm concept by Dan Hera. Now this weapon has quite a lot going on. Firstly, it has the intrinsic perk Doppelganger. Getting a kill will spawn another version of yourself that will take and deal damage. When Doppelganger is active, you and your Doppelganger deal slightly less damage, but on top of this, the Doppelganger has less health but deals the same amount of damage as you. The exotic perk is called Double Doppelganger. You can create up to 4 Doppelgangers, however the added effects of the intrinsic perk, they will deal less and less damage and have less and less health, but there'll just be more of them. And finally, it has the hidden perk Explosive Personality. Doppelgangers will explode when they're killed. Now, I've got to say that this gun in its current iteration is pretty damn overpowered in my opinion. However, the baseline idea of this, that you create a doppelganger when you kill a guy, is actually incredibly viable and unique. Obviously, we have nothing even remotely close to this in Destiny right now. And I think if you kind of reimagine the idea while still keeping the baseline concept of having the doppelganger the same, you could have a pretty damn useful and powerful exotic. I would say that just getting a kill would create the doppelganger. The doppelganger would do what you do, shoot when you shoot and all of that stuff, but not actually deal any damage. You're still going to be dealing 100% of your damage. Your character will be completely normal, but you'll have this doppelganger off to the side or behind or slightly near you. It's going to look the same as you and is again going to do the same stuff as you. So if an enemy jumps around the corner and sees two of the exact same person, what are they going to shoot at? Right? Like, which guy are they going to shoot at? And that is the real usefulness of having a doppelganger. You're going to trick a lot of people. You're going to be saved in a lot of scenarios. Of course, they could shoot one and maybe you could have like a shimmery effect so they would know right away which is the real doppelganger. But even then, that slight time they've spent shooting the wrong target is likely not going to end in their favor in a gunfight. And again, that's going to be very, very useful. In PvE as well, creating a doppelganger where a boss even would slam the doppelganger but not kill you. That is incredibly useful for PvE encounters. Having a boss shoot the doppelganger instead of shooting you, especially since they have large attacks usually that deal tons of damage that can one-shot you. But nope, if the missiles from Cerberus Vey III, if Valister Eric, or whatever his name is, shoots his missile salvo at your doppelganger and not you, that is so useful. So, very cool idea. I think it needs to be reimagined just a little bit because having all the doppelgangers do damage is going to be definitely a little bit much. Now moving on, we have the Ext Codex, exotic auto rifle concept by Shadow Untold. This is a very unique idea. I really love this idea. Firstly, it has the intrinsic perk No Laws. This weapon does not have a magazine per se, but a capacity. This weapon loses ammo over time when readied, when it's in your hands, but when it's stowed away, it regenerates ammo. In addition to that, it has the exotic perk No Rights. As ammo decreases, damage increases. Also, precision shots have a chance to return ammo to the magazine. So, a lot of stuff going on here, but essentially, it's almost like a reverse icebreaker, where you start out with a full magazine, with your full ammo capacity. Again, it doesn't have magazines, it can't reload, it just has a set amount of ammo. But the longer you're holding it, every time, every second you have this weapon out, it slowly goes down on ammo. And that's, of course, on top of you actually shooting anything, that's also going to decrease the ammo count. So you're going to have to put it away, you're going to have to stow it and switch to a different weapon, your secondary or your heavy, for it to actually regenerate ammo. Again, it's the opposite of an icebreaker, and that's actually pretty damn cool. You know, you take this weapon out, and if you've been using other weapons, it's going to have full ammo. Of course, it does have the benefit of technically regenerating ammo when you stow it, so you'll never actually, you know, run out of ammo or be in a situation where you have to go out and get an ammo pack. It'll just constantly regenerate ammo when it's stowed, and the ability to increase its damage when it's getting lower on the magazine is pretty damn cool. Now, usually increasing damage is overpowered, but this is basically doing the same as the Suros regime. The Suros regime has a pretty damn substantial damage increase when it gets lower on its magazine, and this would kind of be the same thing. So you could optimize this weapon by keeping it out, by letting it kind of get low on ammo and engaging enemies when you don't have the most ammo capacity to always win those 1v1s, because you're going to have substantial damage. Of course, the downside of this is that you're not going to be able to use this weapon, you know, after that. You're going to have a hard time getting double kills. If there's multiple enemies, you could be screwed because you're going to have to stow it away to get more ammo. You cannot just reload like you can with the Suros regime. Very interesting gun, like nonetheless. And I would love to see something like this, or at least ammo regeneration in and of itself, played around with in Destiny. Now moving on from there, we have another very interesting idea. It's the Extortionist, exotic fusion rifle concept by Johnny Jew. Now this has two unique perks. Firstly, the intrinsic perk Gambler. You get 2 charges for every kill with this weapon. All assists from using this weapon gain 1 charge. You cannot reload or pick up special ammo while using this weapon. So it's another play on kind of ammo and ammo regeneration in Destiny. So you're going to start out with your 4-round magazine with the Extortionist, and then that is it. If you get a kill, you get technically 2 rounds back. So you can miss a shot and then actually get a kill with a shot, and you're back up to full 4 rounds in a magazine. But if you miss 4 times, right, you're going to be screwed. You're going to have no ammunition. In PvE, this is going to be pretty tricky to use. And even in PvP, like, you can get low in ammunition and then you are totally screwed. Now this weapon's very interesting ammo regeneration properties is accompanied by the exotic perk Extortionist. You get 1/4 of your health back when you deal damage with this weapon. So kind of like a semi-red death, although it is deal damage. Maybe you would have to change that to getting a kill so it's not OP, but still a useful perk overall. I think the main draw of this weapon is the fact that, you know, it would, well, right now it would kind of go beyond the ammo restrictions on secondary weapons, the current secondary ammo economy in the current PvP meta. This would break through that, but again, it's such a high risk, high reward weapon. Like, if you miss, like, that round is basically gone forever. You have to get a kill or you have to get an assist with the weapon to regenerate that ammo to get that round back. And often, if you miss or you don't get the kill, you get killed. Like, you're in a close range battle, the person's probably going to be shooting you back, so you can definitely, like, get to 0 rounds on this gun, and then you're out of ammo for the entire round. You're not getting that back. Or you can keep getting kills. Like, even if you are on 1 shot of the magazine and you get a kill, you get 2 rounds back, and you can use this weapon technically for the entirety of the round. So, very cool and unique weapon, both in its appearance and in its perks. Now moving on, the last exotic concept we're going over today is the monochrome, exotic heavy hand cannon concept by Dusty P9. So again, this is a heavy hand cannon. This would take its place in your heavy slot, not your primary slot. Kind of like how the No Land Beyond is a sniper, but it's in your primary slot. You know, weapons can go the opposite as well. You can have primary weapons end up in secondary and heavy slots if you have some creative ideas, Bungie. Anyways, this has a few unique perks. Firstly, in terms of its attributes, it has a 2-round magazine, and these 2 rounds do incredibly high damage. It's a 1-shot headshot in PvP, 2-shot body shot, and it has pretty high range as well. So again, it's a heavy hand cannon. It's doing way more damage than other hand cannons out there. Its passive perk is called No Gray Area. This hand cannon, again, only holds those 2 rounds, and precision kills with this weapon have a 50% chance to return that round to the reserves. In addition to this, its exotic perk is No In Between. Consecutive precision kills with this weapon grant bonus rate of fire, stability handling, and grant a slower reload speed, and returns 1 round to the magazine. This effect stacks up to 15 times, but completely resets if you miss. So, if you're able to go on an insane killing spree and keep getting headshot after headshot after headshot, you just keep going. It keeps returning rounds into the magazine. Your gun gets a little bit better. You get an increased rate of fire, stability, etc. But if you miss, even just once, your bonus is entirely taken away. And of course, this is a heavy weapon. It is only able to be used when you get that heavy ammo in the middle of your crucible round. And if you're killed, you know, your heavy ammo is completely lost. So It does sound extremely powerful. It is extremely powerful. But you know, the Gjallarhorn is also extremely powerful, right? So it is limited in and of itself from the basis of it being a heavy weapon. I also would love to use this thing in PvE. Being able to go absolutely off with this thing in PvE, just taking down like acolytes and even more powerful enemies, knights and stuff with a single shot, and just keep going with the ammo regenerating properties would be really damn fun to use. And I also really do like the baseline idea of taking some of these weapons, auto rifles, scout rifles, hand cannons, and moving them into secondary or heavy slots, giving them totally different properties, messing with their damage, messing with their attributes, but obviously limiting them in some capacity because they're in those different, more restrictive slots in terms of ammo consumption. It's something that seems like quite a good idea, and it's unfortunate that Bungie hasn't capitalized on it yet. Now that's gonna wrap up the 5 featured exotics. Now as for some tips for getting selected. Firstly, try to make sure that your idea isn't overpowered. If you get a kill and immediately get an overshield, that's likely a little bit too much. Also, make sure that your idea is realistic for Destiny. Getting a kill and turning into a dragon is never actually gonna be in the game. Also, try to make sure that your idea isn't overly complicated. This comes up a lot. If every single one of your perks is unique and it would take me 10 minutes to explain your weapon, you're not going to get selected. However, don't be afraid to break out of the traditional norms. Don't think that you have to make exotic pulse rifles, exotic auto rifles. You're welcome to make exotic heavy hand cannons like we saw today. SMGs, laser rifles, stuff that we haven't seen in Destiny so far. And so guys, lastly, we're just going to shout out all of the different concepts that were created this week. Firstly, we have the Polycolorous exotic hand cannon concept by Dusty P9. After that, we have the EV80 Quicksilver exotic Sparrow concept by Zul's Legacy. After that, we have the Grips of the Archer exotic Hunter Gauntlets concept by Bandit Nation. And lastly, we have the Third Wheel exotic shotgun concept by Bantosaurus 101. Guys, that's gonna wrap up today's episode of Fan-Made Exotics. Again, if you enjoy this series and want to see more, please remember to support these videos by liking and especially sharing. Now, if you guys want to see more Destiny content and don't want to miss out on the next episode of Fan-Made Exotics, be sure to slap that subscribe button. And if you want to actually be notified of new uploads, make sure to press the bell beside subscribe. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.